Welcome to Yoga to Soothe Anxiety. This is a trauma-informed class that you can do in a chair, like I am doing. Your chair could be like mine, a regular old kitchen table chair, or perhaps you have a chair with arms. You're welcome to also sit on the side of a bed or some other furniture. You may choose to do this on a mat and find movement that suits you. You're always welcome to tune in to what I'm doing or to follow your own muse. My name is Kim Tompkins. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a registered yoga teacher, and I'm delighted to be guiding you through our practice today. I'd like to begin by just saying that for some of us it may have been difficult to make the choice to join this practice today. For you, it might have been easy. Whatever the case may be, take a moment to honor the courage and the compassion that led you to try this out today. When you're ready, we'll begin. So when you're ready, you're welcome to come to the edge of your chair and maybe test your range of motion by windshield wiping your knees from side to side and preparing for our practice today. I'm going to lead you after a brief centering exercise. We'll begin a flowing yoga practice, sometimes called vinyasa or sun salutation. And we'll be doing that in our chair. Again, you're welcome to stand at any time if that feels like it will be more supportive to your practice today and to your experience. And then we'll conclude with a rest and restore. So when you're ready, you're welcome to begin rocking through your feet from toe to heel. And maybe you choose circling in your ankles. If you choose circling, you may leave your feet on the floor, have your toes supported by the floor beneath you. Or you may lift one foot up and then the other. Circling for as long as you like, maybe making small circles or big circles. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You're always welcome to follow the sound of my voice, or you might close your eyes and break off into your own movement, doing this in your own way. When you're ready, you could choose rocking back and forth. So one way of becoming present in this moment and finding some relief from our racing mind is to come to our senses by really sensing what we're feeling in our body from moment to moment as we move, being in control of our choices. So we may feel pressure on the chair as we rock back and forth, or maybe you feel the floor beneath your feet. And at any moment, you may feel nothing at all, and that's fine as well. So if you'd like, you could center by rocking from side to side. And maybe you notice that you're breathing. And maybe you find it interesting to connect your breath with your movement. Maybe inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the opposite direction. And at any time, you might choose to hold the stretch in stillness you could hold it the center, or you could choose to hold your stretch to one side and maybe supporting yourself with your hand on your seat or maybe on an armrest. Bringing one arm up into the stretch if you'd like to. So you may extend that hand all the way up overhead, or maybe it's better for you in this moment to have your hand down at your side, maybe resting on your hip. And you could look down at the floor, or you could have your head center, or maybe even looking up. That's one option. You could come out of this stretch whenever you're ready, passing through center, maybe in stillness for a moment, grounding and finding a secure place to return to at any time. Or maybe center is more available to you if you're moving, maybe rocking from side to side, or possibly rocking back and forth. And when you're ready, you're welcome to hold to the opposite side, stretching here, and again, supporting yourself with the chair. And then if you want to explore the sensation of movement in your arm, in your shoulder, maybe on the side body, maybe you become aware that you're breathing and you sense breath in your rib cage, maybe. Or perhaps it's the sensation of air moving in and out of your nose. You're always welcome to leave your arm out of this and just rest the hand on the hip. And looking down at the floor maybe, or holding your head center, or up at the ceiling, and experimenting with different ways to move that suit you. You can always change your mind and come out of a pose that you've tried. And you can stop altogether at any time. The power of this yoga to bring your mind to greater stillness lies in your choices and the realization that you have choices. So when you're ready, we'll begin our vinyasa. And I'll start by demonstrating the movements, and then you're invited to connect them with your breathing. And know that if breathing at any time or focusing on the breath isn't working for you, you don't have to. You can just focus on the movement or on the sensation of support. So in your own time, you're welcome to bring your hands to center. You could bring them up overhead, possibly looking up towards the ceiling or looking up towards your fingertips. Or you could always leave your head resting with your chin towards your chest, if that works for you. And you could recline backwards, leaning your body towards the back of your chair if you're in a chair. If you're standing, reclining to any degree that feels comfortable for you, and coming out of that when you're ready. And then you may decide to fold forward. So you may fold towards the floor. You could drop your head here and round your spine. Or you could come up to your knees, holding your hands at center and your elbows at your knees. And when you're ready, you might return to seated and to your center. If you'd like, you could draw one knee up towards your chest or towards your shoulder, and then round your head towards your knee. You could always just hold your knee up, or possibly rock it back and forth. Another option is to round your head towards your knee. And then you might lift the center of your chest towards the ceiling. And maybe go back and forth between rounding your head towards your knee and lifting the center of your chest. And when you're ready to try that on the opposite side, you pass through center and pause here for a moment. And then maybe take hold of the opposite knee, pulling it towards your shoulder. And it could stay here. Maybe you move in the hip socket, or maybe you round your spine, moving your forehead towards the direction of your knee, and then maybe lifting your heart towards the ceiling. And you might go back and forth. Maybe you find a position along this arch from lifted to rounded that suits you. And you're welcome to hold that. And return the foot to the floor when you feel complete. So if you'd like to try this connecting to breath, we'll give that a go. And you might bring your hands to center. And inhaling, maybe you lift your fingertips towards the ceiling, looking up. Or maybe your chin stays down towards your chest. And maybe you exhale and recline back just a little bit. And perhaps following your breath, you extend your arms out and round down towards the floor. Maybe exhaling here, perhaps dropping the head, and maybe shaking the head. And maybe inhaling, your elbows may come up to your knees, and your palms may press towards one another. And then you might return to seated. And on your next breath, if you choose to follow your breathing, you could draw one of your knees up towards your shoulder and round your head towards your knee, maybe, and perhaps then alternately lifting the center of your chest. And you could do that a few more times, following your breath. Maybe inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you round. That's one choice. Again, even if you choose not to focus on your breath at all, you're still doing yoga. And when you're ready, you might take that to the other side, drawing the knee in. And maybe you stay straight and still in your spine. Or maybe you choose to round your head towards your knee and lift the center of your chest towards the ceiling, if you choose. Rounding and lifting, maybe following your breath, or maybe concentrating on a sensation of stretch that you experience perhaps in your back, perhaps some compression in your hip, or the pressure of your knee against the palms of your hands. And when you're ready, you can return your feet towards the floor and pass through center. Maybe you notice your breathing. If you'd like to experience a wide angle lunge position, you could walk one of your legs out to the side, and the opposite leg could be straight out to the side. Maybe it's behind you, or maybe the straight leg is a little more in front of you. So you could take a moment to experiment with where you'd like the placement of your legs so that you feel secure and ready to lunge if you choose. So maybe you stay here in the center, or maybe you choose to bend over towards the bent knee, maybe resting your elbow on your knee, or maybe your hand is on your knee supporting you, and you explore any degree of bend in your upper body. If you'd like to involve the opposite arm, that arm may raise up to the ceiling, and perhaps it comes up over your head. So you could leave the arm out altogether and your arm could remain at your waist. Your eyes can be open or closed during any of these shapes and forms while we move. And you could experiment and explore with what it's like to have your eyes closed or to have your eyes open. Whatever allows you to get the most out of this experience. And when you're ready, you might rise up back to center and perhaps then lift the opposite arm up towards the ceiling. And you could bend back towards your back foot or bend to the side. Or you could remain upright and your arms could just be out to the side. That's one option, having your arms out to the side or to any degree lifted. Your head could follow your hand, or perhaps it's more comfortable looking down at the floor, or anywhere you're interested in exploring that stretch. So another option here is to have two arms out to the side at the horizon. And you could leave your gaze center. You could also have your elbows bent with your hands forward in this position. And you could look then towards the bent knee or to center. And when you're ready, you might reverse your legs, maybe by bringing them back to center to start, and then walking heel-toe the opposite knee out, and then straightening the other knee. And the knee might be straight. It might be out sort of behind you, or it might be out in front at an angle. And you may remain here in the center, perhaps breathing, or perhaps you explore bending and arching over to one side. The opposite arm may come in, and you may experience some stretching sensation along the side of your body, or maybe a sensation of compressing. And maybe you feel something in your shoulder, or maybe you don't. And maybe you circle the arm. You could leave your fingertips at your shoulder, that's one option. Or you could bring your hand down to your side. You can come out of that at any time you're ready. And you're invited then to bring your opposite arm into this by bending back towards the extended leg, maybe looking up to the ceiling. And in your own time, returning to center. So your legs could be held in a wide position here, and you may lean forward with your legs quite wide. That's one option. Or maybe your legs are a little closer together and you fold that way.
So folding, maybe the head drops. And you could roll up your spine, moving up with the center of your spine rounded as you come up.
And then you're welcome to bring your hands to center. Once again, maybe inhaling as you lift towards the ceiling. And possibly reclining. And then returning to center. And then you could extend your arms out and down, maybe even fluttering palms to the ceiling and then alternating them towards the floor, possibly moving your arms in this wing-like motion. And then you may press palms at your center again, and they could stay here, or you could raise them up and overhead. Your chin could be nestled towards your chest, moving up and down, maybe moving your head up and down. And then, when you're ready, maybe on an exhalation, you lower the arms, maybe in this wing-like fluttering motion. You could even bring your whole upper body into that movement. You could keep it in the shoulders, or you could bring your whole body rocking forward and back as you lower your hands to your lap. If you'd like to experience a twist, one way to do that is to bring your ankle up towards your knee, and maybe rest on your knee here. Rest your foot on your knee, and possibly hug your knee in towards your chest so that you begin twisting in one direction or the other. And perhaps you're aware of a stretching sensation across your hip, or maybe some efforting in your abdomen as you turn. And you might look behind you, or you might allow your chin to float from one shoulder to the other. And in your own time, you're welcome to unwind and maybe twist to the opposite side. So here you could twist to the opposite side. And in your own time, replacing the foot to the floor, maybe taking a march before moving to the other side if you want to experience that. So here the other ankle comes and rests on the knee, and maybe you hug it in and begin rotating the opposite shoulder towards that bent knee. Maybe bringing your whole head into the stretch, your neck, exploring sensation in your neck. And it may feel tight in places, or maybe it feels very fluid in other places. Every day is different. And we can approach each sensation that we find with some degree of friendliness. So maybe you can offer some degree of friendliness to whatever you find in this moment. Replacing our feet to the floor when you're ready. And now I invite you to scan, maybe with your eyes opened or closed, to scan from head to toe, maybe inviting movement from head to toe, starting at your feet, perhaps moving in your knees and your hips, and perhaps rotating. Just finding some movement as you scan from head to toe, perhaps in movement or maybe in stillness, that you're longing for. So each of us is a little different. And perhaps you'd like to experience a little more strength and warmth, or maybe it's a stretch that seems interesting. And that stretch might be again in your shoulders by rolling your shoulders forward or back, perhaps your head. And if it's the experience of a little more strength you'd like, you're welcome to almost come to standing. So you could just lift up off the chair. If you're standing already, you're welcome to bend in your knees to experience the strength of your legs. So rocking over and over again, as if you come up to standing. You could involve your arms in this. That's one way to experience more efforting. Or you might choose to lift one leg and then the other in a march. And your leg could come high up off the ground, or you could keep it low. And when you feel complete with that and are ready to move on to some rest and restore, you're welcome to grab a blanket, or maybe you'd like to sit on the floor with a pillow underneath you, perhaps even lie down on the bed or on the floor. If you choose to relax and rest in your chair, feel free to scoot back into the support of your chair, maybe leaning all the way back, and perhaps your head rests your chest, and maybe your heels are outside of your knees, so your knees are a little closer together. And you could cross your arms in front of you. That's one way to experience rest in a chair. And maybe if you could allow your hands to come palm facing up and just allow them to drop away. Or maybe rest them on your abdomen with your fingers interlaced. And maybe you would fidget and explore and experiment with different ways of finding rest. So I'm going to be silent for a few breaths, and then I'll conclude the practice. And you are welcome to continue resting at your own pace. And thank you for practicing with me today. Remember that wherever your journey takes you, you can always come home to your body and to your breath. Thank you.